Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And welcome to this special live webinar organized in collaboration between PRI, IPMA, AIPMO, and Alma Mater. We're delighted to have you with us today for a session that explores the powerful link between advanced academic study and consulting practice. I'm Nancy Naimi, a management consultant with over 24 years of experience and a PhD candidate. Very pleased to be the moderator of this session today. I will wait one more minute before we start. And welcome again, everyone. Welcome to all our panelists here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Nancy. Our pleasure.
Pleasure.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello again. So now it's the right time to kick off this session. So hello, everyone, and welcome again. Our purpose today is clear, is to highlight how doctoral and postgraduate journeys in project management shape consulting career and strengthen leadership impact. Together, during this session, with our panelists, we'll explore how advanced study promotes awareness of postgraduate and PhD opportunities in project management, shows that research is not just a theory, but there's much more to it. Look at how we can enhance careers and enhance credibility and make differentiation in what we offer to our clients, and provide the tools to engage at broad level and influence strategy. Today, you'll be inspired through real stories of consultants who have pursued doctoral studies, providing the long-term value of this journey. Over the next hour, we'll hear about motivations, challenges, lessons learned, and the impact doctoral research brings to consulting. Most importantly, we'll hear from our distinguished panel of consulting leaders, each bringing their own experience of how research and practice come together to deliver client value. So let me start now by introducing our panelists. We have with us here today Dr. Amin Saidwan, founder of ASAICO, former consultant with Grant Thornton, Germany. Dr. Amin is a management and project consultant, certified ACC coach from the International Coaching Federation. He's a part-time lecturer at Grenoble École de Management and Brest Business School in France. He holds his PhD from Alma Mater Europa University, and with over 30 years of experience, Dr. Amin has worked as a consultant with Grant Thornton, which is a large multinational company in the logistics sector in Germany. He has over 30 years of experience and has published various articles on project management, general management, and intercultural management, particularly in NPO and NGO context. Welcome, Dr. Amin.
Thank you very much.
Our second panelist is Dr. Mohammed Khair Dimashqi. You're welcome. Mohammed Khair Dimashqi is director and executive advisor. He's a seasoned professional with over 15 years of experience in real estate, construction, and consulting, specializing in strategic programs and projects across the Middle East and Europe. He holds a PhD in business administration, strategic management from Italy, a master's in engineering management, and a bachelor's in civil engineering from Lebanon. He's a certified PMP and SIP professional. He has expertise in project management, strategic transformation, program management, institutional excellence, business models, benefit realization, and construction management. He has successfully led major initiatives, including driving strategic transformation and enhancing institutional excellence for leading real estate development firms and public entities. He is skilled in navigating the complexity of the real estate market and conducting advanced research and analysis.
Thank you, Nancy.
With a particular focus on the kingdom. Welcome, Doctor. Our third panel and senior advisor, he's a seasoned professional in project management, transformation management, strategy execution, and business development. He has worked across a wide range of industries, including construction, engineering, government, information technology, telecom, and education, and financial services. He has been extensively involved in developing and activating project, program governance, risk, and portfolio management, operating models, and frameworks. while also providing innovative business solutions and driving development initiatives. Dr. Mohammed has successfully led major engagements in designing and establishing EPMOs, transformation and visualization office, and operations for several agencies and government organizations. As an accomplished trainer, he has delivered more than 1,000 hours of project and risk management training to hundreds of professionals and executives at the American University of Beirut, the Order of Engineers and Architects of Beirut, and leading companies across the Middle East region. Welcome, Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm happy to be part of this panel to share some of our experience and insights. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Zubi Hirovnan Ere, I hope I pronounced it right. Welcome, Dr. Zubi. She's a Global Advisory Board member. She's an experienced leader with 24 years of experience in driving profitable and sustainable growth, including 20 years in leadership and negotiation roles, as well as over a decade in C-suite board advisory roles. She holds two doctorates, a Doctor of Laws and a Doctor of Science in Economics and Business Administration, with a focus on growth, strategic competitive advantage, commercial and contract management, project management, ESG, and change. In 2025, she earned the adjunct professor title of docent in contract management. Dr. Zubi has held senior leadership positions at corporations such as Nokia, NSN, Accenture, Honeywell, and Sonera, driving business growth via commercial and contract management, strategic transformation, and operational excellence on a global scale. She has led large multinational and multilingual teams, delivering measurable impact in areas such as growth, legal, commercial, and contract management, risk management, supply chain, stakeholder management, and business turnarounds. Dr. Zubi currently chairs the scientific board at PRI in Finland and the board at the WLG Network, and serves as the global advisory board member with organizations such as World CC and Bright. She's a frequent conference speaker, and we're very pleased to have her with us here today. Dr. Zubi, welcome.
You, and my pleasure to be here with you today.
With this, I think that's great. So welcome again to all our panelists. And now we will start our session with a question that I will address to all the panelists. What was the turning point that made you decide to pursue a PhD DBA while already being successful in consulting? And we've seen this from all your bios. I have a volunteer to start.
I will start.
Please, Dr. Amin.
Okay, thank you very much, Nancy, for this question. Actually, I could answer the question with 3 words: the right PhD program, the right supervisors, and the right topic. I'm going to elaborate a bit. So, after completing my Master of Science in Economics in the UK back in 1992, I started a PhD, and the topic was on the economic relations between Germany and Algeria as a case study. However, there was an outbreak of the civil war in the 90s that prevented me from carrying out the necessary field research that was asked and requested by my supervisor. What I did then, I started with the, as you mentioned earlier, Grant Thornton International, which is a consultancy in Düsseldorf in Germany, as a junior consultant, and I found a very dynamic environment with the people who are very passionate about their work, committed to long working hours and extensive travel. So my colleagues, some of them already had a PhD, some not. And I still had the intention, of course, to earn my PhD at that time. I made then a second attempt in 1997. Unfortunately, I did not succeed because I prioritized my consulting career over the academic work. So then in 2018, I embarked on my third attempt, and this time I was successful. The conditions were finally right: a supportive environment, a flexibility to work full-time in a leading position, while at the same time dedicating evenings, weekends, and vacation to research, and as a renewed determination to complete my journey. So what made the difference? As I said, the right program, the right supervisors, and the right topic, and of course at the end the right motivation. So this was actually the turning point that made me decide to pursue my PhD while already being successful in consulting.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Amin. Any other parents would like to add to this advice on having the right time, the right condition to start? Please, Dr. Mohammed Mashidi.
Thank you, Nancy. First of all, thank you for having us on this panel. It's very honoring to be side by side with such professional people and high intellectual personnel. The question is about the turning point that made us decide on pursuing our PhD. Actually, for me, it was always an ambition to reach that level. Mainly for the title. No, I'm just kidding. There was a process where I was taking it slowly until I reached the phase where I know that this is the time, and it's basically a little journey that I would like to share with everyone here. I graduated as a civil engineer in Lebanon, and I started working with a construction company. So I went into the industry. I started going from site to site on construction projects, and it was never enough for me. So I went and pursued my master's degree in engineering management, and that gave me already a boost. It pushed me to new horizons. So I started working more on real estate projects. I moved to Cyprus. We worked on the highest residential building on a seafront, and it was a move. And this exposed me to getting more experience and eventually moving into consultancy and coming to Riyadh. And that happened eventually, actually, when COVID hit. So we were under a pandemic. We were working from home. We were under quarantine. So this actually was a door for the remote work and the remote learning as well. And being in the consultancy after many years in the industry, I thought I'd be there and giving knowledge and adding value, which happened at a certain point. But I was always learning more than I was giving. And this was humbling at the beginning, having a senior role at a consulting company, but learning more than giving. So I thought I should not be the person who just understands and learn and believes the first thing he sees. And I saw that in many cases where someone approaches a problem or a challenge with the only solutions he knows because he saw it once and he learned it, that this is how we do it. But there was always different solutions. There was always different ways to do things. So I thought this is actually the time when I need to go and pursue my PhD. The distance learning was now an opportunity. So I seized the chance and I went for my doctoral research. So I pursued my PhD back then. The goal mainly was really not the title as the preliminary joke, but it's about chasing the depth and gaining the structural thinking and adding structured research to my toolkit. So providing better structured solutions that fit for the special challenge or problem we are facing. And actually, it was a journey and not a turning point by itself to pursue the PhD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The title still counts, I think. I mean, we feel proud, right, to have the title of doctorate, but definitely that's not necessarily the main aim. So anybody else would like to add anything before we move to the second question? Yes, please.
Okay, so the question is about the turning point that made me decide to pursue a PhD while already being successful in consulting. Actually, I started the PhD journey before joining the consulting industry. In fact, I started my professional career in 2003 as a business solution provider and as a project manager. And after 12 years, I started my consulting career in 2015 with PwC as CWF. And in between, I completed my PhD in project and program management. My initial thought was that a PhD will help me to move from the professional career to consulting career. This is was my initial thought. As combining the academic with the hands-on experience will boost my profile and deepen my impact through understanding the why behind the how, and through bringing evidence-based thinking to any business conversation, and for sure to contribute to a new knowledge as well. So the turning point was the desire to move from execution to consulting, from practitioner to influence others. It's about the transformation. I can add more thing if I have time. If I have time, I can add more reason.
Maybe briefly, couple of seconds. We try to keep the check
So
on
I
the time,
can
but please go
also
ahead.
add one more thing that motivated me to pursue my PhD. In one of my large projects where I led the PMO for one of the city municipalities in the Middle East to look after 400 infrastructure projects, I found myself surrounded by technical engineers, and some of them hold PhDs in engineering, in roads and structure. I noticed the respect of the client to those people. I noticed that their insights and advices are always supported by clear methodologies and evidences. So this one reason that motivated me to pursue my PhD. Yeah.
Thank you. I think this is very interesting. And I think combining both academic knowledge and also practitioner knowledge is very important for the success. I mean, when we work with clients as consultants. So thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Zufi, would you like to add your insights?
Thank you so much. For me, making a PhD dream true was one of the very big desires. I wanted to do one since 19th. I started twice in a program, didn't apply for the doctorate. And after having been 15 years already successful in business, I finally got the courage to jump out and make the dream come true. And for me, about this dream was that I always looked up to PhDs like they have done something that I really admired with the skills, capabilities, know-how. And for me, also one driver was to do the PhDs that I did, the two of them, on topics that I found really valuable. So I wanted to bring all the knowledge from my 15 years practitioner's career to these books. And the first one was about contract management and how can you boost growth and strategic competitive advantage. And the second one was how to make through the green transition via commercial and contract management as a leadership strategy instrument. So for me, the desire and drive came from the will to make, to help business through science and to bring solutions to real-time problems from a combination of practice and science.
Excellent. And I like what you said about the will to help through science. That's very important. I think when we make that shift to PhD studies and have the courage to do that, we notice a lot of times that people take years to go through that journey. It really takes time, it takes effort, and the courage is needed for that. So thank you to all our panelists for your insights on this question. And I encourage our attendees to post their questions also so we can answer them at the end of the session. We're going to allocate 10 minutes for questions and answers at the end. My second question to you now, Dr. Mohammed Bukhari. How did your doctoral journey reshape your identity as a consultant and a leader? And I think you started maybe bringing us into that story earlier in your answer. Can you please elaborate a little bit more?
Well, as I mentioned, I started my PhD journey before joining consulting with attention. With attention on my domain, my field, the project management. The objective was to combine hands-on experience with academic research and deep analysis. And my belief at that time was that PhD could be a strong differentiator, okay, especially in a project and program management. I realized that my PhD journey did much more than boosting my profile. It really reshaped my identity. It shifted me from being a practitioner to become a strategic thinker. The PhD journey trained me to think critically, challenge assumptions, approach problems from multiple perspectives. Instead of simply delivering solution, I started to co-create long-term value with the clients, supported and grounded in research and thinking. Also, it taught me to lead with evidence. PhD research instills intellectual discipline. It made me more data-driven, more comfortable with ambiguity, and less attached to being perfect. This shift increased both my credibility and positioned me as a trusted subject matter expert. I can also highlight the importance of the self-awareness and resilience. The journey gave me patience, humility, and perspective. It taught me to, for example, that leadership is not about control, but about creating space for others to grow. So overall, the PhD didn't just add to my knowledge. It transformed how I see, how I think, how I lead, how I create impact. And most importantly, it reshaped the way I connect and communicate with the other stakeholders.
Thank you very much for this answer and for elaborating on this. And I think it's really impressive to see how the leadership skills are reshaped during a PhD, and also I link it to excellence. And a lot of what you've mentioned are what we really look at when we look at excellence in leadership and in organization. So thank you very much for this answer. I would like now to move to Dr. Amin with my third question. Dr. Amin, balancing doctoral research with senior leadership roles must have been demanding. How did you manage both worlds? Because these worlds are very demanding, both of them. So how did you do that?
Yes, thank you, Nancy, for this question. Indeed, the journey was undeniably demanding. I've wrote about the impact of leadership on project success in non-for-profit organizations. So, as I mentioned earlier, after 2 attempts, I thought I clearly viewed that this was the right and ultimate final opportunity to complete the project. So, actually balancing the two. Namely the full-time work within a organization that is specialized in project management, IPMA, and at the same time doing academic commitment to the project. The PhD project was manageable through several factors. First one is that the topic that I delivered was a value for both myself as a person and as the person who always wanted to accomplish a PhD, and the second, it was also a value to the organization because of the topic itself. Second, my environment played a significant role in motivating me to pursue, because many of my board colleagues already hold a PhD, and within that culture I perceived the absence of one as a gap of my own competences. And the third important argument that helped to manage both was the fact that it was a long aspiration of mine. It never faded. And one of my supervisors said, "Why don't you start a PhD now?" And this was really decisive, because I felt this support, and at the same time this reinforced my belief that project management is not only about the practitioner, the profession, and it was time to move into a status of what I call a pracademic, advancing research in that area. And of course, I also want to mention that beyond these favorable circumstances, every PhD demands clear project management. So it was also an opportunity to apply something that I knew from the practice, such as sound working discipline, a strong guidance from my supervisor, but also making sure that stakeholder management, right? Very key is managing the supervisor, managing my employer, my family, and of course myself. And that was really critical in pursuing the PhD to the end. And I also changed my attitude. What I initially perceived as stumble blocks, I reframed them as opportunity. So it was a now and never decision. And with this change of mindset, I was able to finalize the work. Yeah, at my own pace, of course.
Excellent. It seems like having a very good supportive network is important for a PhD, but there's still, I think, a lot of challenges to overcome. So, Dr. Demashir, my question is, what was the biggest challenge you faced during your doctoral studies?
If you allow me, Nancy, can I add to Dr. Amin?
Absolutely.
Because the question is very important. How did you manage both worlds, doctoral research, and while you are in a senior executive or leadership role? I want to share a story happened to me. I still remember that about 3 months before defending my PhD thesis, I was assigned to a major project or large project as an advisor to one of the ministers. At that time, my schedule often required working more than 12 hours a day. Despite the intensity, I remained committed to my thesis. I would wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, dedicating 2 hours to prepare my defense presentation before starting the day. It was challenging, but it taught me the importance of discipline and time management. Yeah.
Definitely. I think without discipline, it's hard to go through this journey. And I think resilience is also one of the other things that is required from a PhD candidate. I'm starting to experience this, and I think it's a way to overcome the challenges that we face during the journey. So thank you very much, Dr. Bukhari, for your addition. And please, to all our panelists, feel free to add if you have anything to add to any of the questions that the other panelists have answered. Dr. Mohammed Demashir, about the biggest challenge you faced during your doctoral studies. Would you like to share anything with us about how did you overcome it?
Yes, actually, this overlaps greatly with the answers Dr. Saidon and Dr. Bukhari provided on the previous question. It's time, Nancy. The biggest challenge is time here. Not the complexity of the research, not even the rigor of the methodology, but actually managing your time while wearing so many hats. Senior leadership in consulting, having to travel, I'm a heavy traveler, a growing family, alhamdulillah, and a demanding program for the doctoral program. At one point, I actually considered quitting. I felt living different lives between different engagements, the academic paper at night. But what saved me was really the discipline and putting structure. So breaking down, it's not really a cliche answer, but when you put it into perspective, it's not only something on paper, but when you really apply it, it changed things. So when you break down that big intimidating goal, completing the thesis of the PhD, into these micro milestones, going from the chapter to the section to even specific word counts, and you treat them like a milestone, like a deliverable that you are obliged to go and deliver to the client in our consulting work, you can start achieving things. And to be honest, as we said, it's something that you don't do alone. It's something that needs support from whoever is around you. And special thanks to my wife there, who supported me along this journey and stood next to me. And with that, you learn how to prioritize. And sometimes you need to say the no, which we are not really good at as consultants, but you need to set that. And this experience by itself is something very important to learn. And you will learn by then that time is not something you find. We always say, I didn't find time for this. It's not something you find. It's something you design. You need to design your time to structure it and find how you can achieve things. And this is maybe one of the biggest lessons that I learned during this journey.
Great. Thank you for sharing your challenge and your solution to it. So, anybody else would like to add anything before we move to the second segment of our session today? Okay, so I think now we have covered the challenges and the learning, and it's good to a little bit talk about the impact and the value that was brought to you by having achieved your completed your PhD and earning the title. So, Dr. Bukhari, how has completing a PhD or influenced the way clients and organizations perceive your expertise?
Okay, I believe that the PhD reframed how others see my value, not just as a consultant who delivers, but as a trusted advisor who challenges, who leads, influence others. It has increased it has increased my credibility and trust. The PhD title shows consistency, depth, and long-term commitment to mastering something or a field. In my case, it is the program and project management. Clients often view it as a mark of authority, especially when we are navigating complex challenges. Also, it has positioned me as a strategic, this is very important, as a strategic knowledge partner. Rather than being seen only as executor or implementer, I am now engaged as a thought partner, someone who combines hands-on experience with academic insight, structured thinking, and research-backed perspectives. This often leads to being invited into higher level strategic discussions where evidence-based insights and critical thinking are essential.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your insights. Any additions from the panelists? Okay. I think we all agree that this is really probably having a PhD provides a lot of value, and it really shifts the position of the PhD consultant to a different level when it comes to the relations with the client. So thank you for your insights.
If you
Dr.
want, I
Zubi,
can add one more
yes.
if you want. It just came to in my mind. It also provides, the PhD is differentiator in a crowded market. In consulting, where many professionals rely on similar framework studies, methodologies, the PhD demonstrates that your expertise goes deeper. It reflects not only practical experience, but also original research, critical analysis, and genuine contribution to knowledge, especially new knowledge.
And that's also the first thing they told us, is we're really focusing on new knowledge when we started our PhD. So thank you for that. I would again encourage our attendees to post any questions they have so we can take them at the end of the session. Dr. Zubi, my question is to you now. Beyond client work, how has earning a PhD influenced your broader professional network, credibility, or opportunities in the consulting industry? I think we've covered a lot, the credibility, maybe talking a little bit about opportunities in the consulting industry.
Yes, thank you so much for this excellent question. I think the networks have really increased after the PhDs and also during the PhD journeys. Because when you work day and night and weekends and holidays in a corporate life, you don't have the time so much to participate in the networks. And also, I felt that my employers were quite jealous of me, so they necessarily did not let me go to speak anywhere because they wanted me to be there with them. But once you are at the university, it is part of your job to go and talk about your research, to participate in business events and in academic congresses. So that is also one way how you build your speaker and author career outside the consulting business. And also one thing that I have been very, very happy about is that many boards and advisory boards have shown great interest toward my PhDs, toward the research, and toward the know-how and skills and capabilities they bring. So it's kind of extra skill set or extra capability and extra credibility you get. And that brings you to advise others also outside your consulting or daily job. So I feel that for me, who loves to present and loves to share the knowledge, it has been a great, great pleasure to be able to speak in the events and spread the knowledge. Of course, within certain limits, but still. I think it for your networking, it has been a great booster.
Excellent. Thank you for your insights. I would like to take one question from the attendees and add to what has been already said. And I think the question is about what advantages does a PhD provide to professionals with an MBA? So what additional values a PhD provides in addition to the MBA already advantage that people had got when they got their MBA? So what is the plus? If anybody would like to take the answer to this question.
I'll take a stab on that if you want.
Please.
This is actually an interesting question. Having an MBA or any other master degree is stepping into the higher education zone. It is interesting. It adds value. It adds knowledge. It starts opening more doors from a career perspective as well. But also the PhD is another zone. Imagine if we're stepping into a circle. The school degree, the high school degree is the first circle. You have another one, which is university, another bachelor degree university, and then the master degree. And then you have, it's not anymore a circle that you are stepping towards. It's not a full area of knowledge. You are trying to poke that circle into one direction. When you pursue your PhD, you are building on all the knowledge you got. You are also doing a big research. The aim of the research is not just you learning something that is already there. It's actually adding to the knowledge, actually, so widening these circles. Each PhD is trying to poke in a direction. The strategy in that direction, engineering in the other direction, management in one direction, and every actually sector or industry knowledge will be widened by these kind of researchers. So what you are adding to the knowledge base of everyone else. You are adding to your credibility based on how many papers you will be reading, the research you are doing, primary or secondary. You will be poking that limit to add to the knowledge base and eventually adding to your adding an edge to what you bring into your career.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your insights. Any additions, Dr. Zubi? Please.
Thank you so much. I would say, and thank you for the excellent answer, but I try to add a little on it. So I think master level is what everybody has, but PhD level is what only you have, because normally you are not able to write a PhD about anything else than something that is new. So it's bringing and adding new information to this world. And often you are the only one in your country or even in the whole world who has that type of deep knowledge of your very topic. So you will be unbeatable on your topic in what comes to the substance. So it's like, if I will also add what Dr. Buhari said earlier, it's a clear differentiator compared to MBA.
That's great. And this will lead me to taking the second question from attendees, is that the question is around whether the prestigious brand universities, having a PhD from a prestigious brand university is very important, because the clients are looking for consultants who graduated from first-class universities. Does it make a difference where the PhD is from? What is the really important thing when you pursue a PhD and the choice of universities? Yes, Dr. Amin, please.
Yes, I think this is a double-edged sword, depending, of course, where you started. I think, well, for example, I did in a quite well-known organization called the London School of Economic and Political Science. So you already have a certain brand. Of course, branding and of course, let's say the name of an institution is always important. But I think I would like to also endorse what just Suvi mentioned, namely that if you are a person that is making really the difference by making a contribution to science and the profession, you are unique. And this is already a very, very strong, I think, added value that they bring as a brand, especially if you then do the publication accordingly, and people will acknowledge that, whether you do it in a very famous, let's say, university with journals, also with high impact factors, etc. It can make a difference, but it depends also whether you are in the beginning or you are more at the end of your career, both in academic and in the practitioner world. Yeah.
Thank you for this answer. And every time I try to go back, sorry, just Dr. Bukhari, just a thing. I try to go back to my questions, but maybe after your intervention, Dr. Bukhari, we can just answer this question: whether the age, someone who's like around 60s, and he's close to retirement, will that make a difference to have a PhD, because he might be exiting even the teaching world? So we'll come back to this question after your answer, Dr. Bukhari. Please go ahead.
I just want to add that it also depends on the field, the sector, the industry. In 2013, I started my PhD journey, and I found at that time that 2 schools only offering a PhD in project and program management. One in Australia, I think RMIT, and the second one is in France, Schema Business School. So I decided to go with the Schema in France. Most importantly, to understand that the PhD or DBA is about reshaping how you think. Okay, the journey will help you to reshape how you think. It will push you to question assumptions, navigate ambiguity, and approach problem in depth. This differentiates the PhD and DBA from other degrees. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bukhari. I actually would like to add to this, and we'll answer the next question if you'd like, Nancy. Dr. Bukhari's and Dr. Saidun answers are very, very good and actually excellent. And I would like to add one thing. Maybe it's a silly thing. Let's call it. As we said before, and Dr. Sophie has also mentioned it. You are kind of unique when you are doing a PhD. So you are tapping into a knowledge that is not really there, and you are trying to develop it. So it's not really someone who's teaching you that subject, and therefore there is nothing really, no big differentiator between who is the institute that is opening the door for you to get it. However, the differentiator between the institutes will be the kind of support they provide and what reach they can get you. And eventually, we talked about the title. We talked about how you are perceived as a PhD holder or a DBA holder. You have the title doctor right now, and having this title coming from such institutes, actually, the one who asked the question mentioned a couple of examples, will put you in a position as perceived. We use this word, this proverb, la crème de la crème. You'll be perceived as such. This is maybe one of the most differentiators, in addition to what Dr. Bukhari and Dr. Saidun actually mentioned. And based on everything we mentioned so far, answering the question of if you are in the 50s or 60s and want to pursue a PhD, the answer is not really only about what the PhD will bring me for my career or for my future, or it's so how I'm contributing to the knowledge base, as I said before. When you pursue a PhD and you develop something, you are actually contributing to that sector you are researching. So why not add to the value, add to the knowledge base, give something to the community, let's say, by doing that research. But in the opposite, actually, if you are in your 60s, you've seen a lot. You can add the flavor of that experience into your PhD and what you are adding to the knowledge. So this is maybe one simple answer for that question as well.
I
think it's a
can
great
I can
answer.
remember a statement from our professor Rodney Turner when he said that the PhD is about follow the previous researcher steps and add one more step to knowledge or to resolve issues or challenges. That's aligned with what you said, Dr. Mohammed Khair.
Thank you both for your intervention, and I think it's really about the motivation of the individual and why he's pursuing the PhD. So there's a lot of avenues once you have that. So thank you. I would like now to go back a little bit to the impact and how did the PhD help to you? In what ways has the doctoral research helped you deliver more measurable impact in consulting projects specifically?
Sorry, I didn't. Is it my question? I believe there was interruption in the connection.
Research. Yes, Dr. Dimashi.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Sorry, apologies for that.
No worries.
In what ways has the doctoral research helped you deliver more measurable impact in consulting projects specifically?
All right. I joked about it at the beginning, saying about the title, but actually the title, doctor, give you a credibility boost. It opened doors, it add gravitas, but it's not only because of the title, because what the title brings. It brings a deeper value. So now you have your experience from working in the industry, for example, or working in different consulting jobs. So you build some knowledge, and you are adding to that some research, and especially when it's sector relevant. It brings you tools, frameworks, and methodology that you can use into customizing an answer for any problem that you have. I mentioned before that what you bring is not a typical answer of the shelf solution to the problems that you are facing. You are actually providing a unique solution, and this is what actually is what the client needs. Bringing evidence-based, measurable strategies or answers in general solutions instead of just building on what you saw before, what you learned from your a leader before you stepped up and become a senior. So clients doesn't want just to see best practices or what others are doing and replicate their solutions. They want to see their next practice. So the real value isn't just the credibility that the title brings, but it's delivering the research driven and the measurable impact.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your answer.
I can add
Yes.
to this if you want. I want to show to present my case here, to share it with the audience. After joining the consulting firm, I found myself been selected as a PMO knowledge owner. What does it mean? It means you are recognized as an authority within the project management practice in your organization. As knowledge owner, you are accountable for creating, reviewing, updating, approving published knowledge artifacts such as guidelines, advices, policy, procedures, methodology, governance model, etc. I also found myself part of Center of Excellence team. I call them A team, the brain of the practice, to elevate our practice value through advisory support, research and development, team enablement, and service innovations. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your story and addition, Dr. Bukhari. So we still have a few minutes before we wrap up our session. I would like to ask Dr. Amin one last question. What specific competencies or ways of thinking from your research do you now apply in your consulting practices? You can share with us some examples.
Yeah, thank you. There are many actually, but I would like just to share 3 examples. One is the communication of complex ideas, right? So as a researcher, we translate academic findings into clear and concise arguments, right? So in consulting, I try to turn the complex analysis into really simple and friendly presentations and smart actions that can be taken. Example, we all know how to write abstracts, right, as researchers. And of course, this has improved my ability also to write as a consultant impactful executive summaries. That's one thing, communication and complex ideas. The second one is using the existing research methodologies approaches. We already talked about it a bit earlier. And as an example, I was recently asked to give a support to an executive board, to an organization to make a decision on the review of their growth strategy. And the benchmarking approach with a comparative study between different organizations helped to actually move on and gain both credibility in front of the client, but also increase the objectivity with the scientific approach, right? So scenario technique, etc. And I would like to mention a third one, which is the analytical and problem-solving skills, right? So as a researcher, I break down as many researchers complex questions into smaller one, testable hypothesis. And as a consultant, I divide the problems into structured frameworks. I used to do it also before, but now I think with a much more in-depth approach, like root cause analysis, in which as a researcher I control experiments, and as a consultant I validate different assumptions before making or recommending the solutions. And there is a lot of complementarity, of course, between when you are a certified project manager or coach. For example, in my case, it's the individual competence baseline, where you get a lot of certification based on competence like stakeholder management, result orientation, self-management. But after having performed the PhD, you are much more into the way to formulate with the, I would say, hypothesis-driven thinking or continuous learning and curiosity. I could give a lot of examples, but looking at the time, I would like to stop here. But this is, I think, in a nutshell, what I gained in terms of additional competence from the PhD to what I can implement as a consultant in the practical world. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Amin. And I think these are great, learnings that people, when they see them, they definitely would like to pursue a PhD, because it really makes a big difference to one's professional career, to its competencies and the way he works. So thank you very much for this. I have a last question for Dr. Zubi, but I would like to mention to our attendees that we have some questions that are related to some practical things related to PhD programs. We can connect with you after the session to answer these questions. But please share any other questions you have related to directly to the topic today. Dr. Zubi, for senior consultants or directors considering a PhD or DBA program, what advice would you give them?
Thank you for the excellent question. And I think I would have known this answer before I started my first PhD. And I think one thing is that a lot of PhD work is getting the right question, getting the right sources to answer the question. So I would advise as follows, that think about what your research question is and find as many references, that is sources, so articles and books that answer that question before you actually jump out, because it takes a lot of time to collect the references. And if you have, let's say, 50 to 100 articles for one article you are writing, you will be very well ahead when you then start actual writing. But if you do that only after if you take, for instance, a writing leave or so, you will lose a lot of time just finding the references. So do as much as you can before you actually sit down and start writing. So that will save a lot of your time.
Thank you very much for this great answer, Dr. Zubi. Before we wrap up the session, we're just a couple of minutes to the end, and I would like to give the room to my colleague Ritu. I would like to give you the last 30 seconds each for your last words for our attendees. Dr. Amin, would you like to start?
Yes, I think that if you have the courage and the motivation, go for a PhD. There is no doubt. I started rather late, with the age of 53, but I had always the aim to do it. So it is both, rewarding, having achieved something, but also something as something that lasts. It's also something that you contribute as a legacy to science and the profession. So that's also very rewarding. And I also encourage people who have already a PhD to learn from consultants and not only remain into their own, I would say, ivory tower, so that the practice meets the theory and the other way around. That's what I would like to give as a main message.
Thank you for your message, Dr. Amin. Dr. Mohammed Dimashie.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this was a very interesting session. We learned a lot from Dr. Saedoun, Dr. Bukhari, Dr. Souvi, and your reiterations of some questions. We learned that there are many drivers why one would pursue a PhD. We learned that there are many challenges along the journey. But there is always an impact, there is always a value in that. So if you have the passion, if you know what you want from a PhD, if you know what is the knowledge that is missing and that you can add there, please go for it. Don't hesitate, and choose the right time for that person.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Zubi, would like to add anything?
Thank you. I would like to pass on the, I think, great piece of advice that I got when I was thinking if I will have the courage to jump out from consultancy business for accomplishing a PhD. And there was a partner who was a consulting partner, and I was wondering, should I do it or should I not do it? And he said, if you want to make a PhD, make a PhD. So simple it is. So I would add, if it's your dream, do it. Because when you are old and wrinkled and you look back to your life, I think this is something that you will not regret.
Great message. Thank you very much. Dr. Bukhari?
I just want to say, don't underestimate the strategic value of the doctoral journey, but you need to be very clear on your why. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like again to really thank you for your insights. It has been a great session. I would like to ask my colleague Ritu to share her slides for a few announcements. But before that, I will wrap up our session. It was really a great, I think, great insights today. Taught us that PhDs will help us think differently, applying system thinking, research-driven insights into the consulting world, which will help us strengthen our credibility with our clients and organizations as consultants and help us differentiate ourselves in the competitive market. The message is clear today. Postgraduate and doctoral studies are not a detour from consulting, not at all. They are a pathway to deeper expertise, stronger influence, resilience, developing leadership skills, which is really very, very, I think, great addition to all our skills and our competencies as consultants. Again, I would like to thank you all our panelists for your insights. I would like to thank the organizers and the team at AIPMO for organizing a great session. Ritu, the floor is yours. And
Thank you,
again, thanks for all
Nancy,
our
and
attendees.
thank you all panelists for a great session. I know we are almost at the end of the session. I'm just going to take 1 minute to share my screen. So you see my screen, right, Nancy?
Not
No?
yet.
Yeah, we do now.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's working. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so thank you everyone once again, and I'm just going to take 1 minute to invite all attendees to also join our 2 groups. As you are attending this live session, I assume you are already following AIPMO's LinkedIn page. We have 2 other groups. The second one is the PhD DBA LinkedIn group for strategy, portfolio, program, project management, and PMO management. It's a forum for masters, MBA, and PhD students to share and support each other. So if you're going to do your PhD or you want more information, it's a great place to be. We have a lot of experts sharing their insights here, so it will be very useful. The third one is a new group. It's called PMO Global Community for Management Offices. It's for advancing PMO's project management, leadership, strategy, and professional development. I'm going to share the links for these 2 groups in the chat in some time, and I would like to ask you to join this group. So that's it from me. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Ritu. Thanks, everyone. And
Thanks,
thanks for all our
everyone.
attendees for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.